الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Welcome everyone to Ramadan Debates hosted by Al Maghrib Institute. This is Ammar Shukri. I'll be hosting today a conversation and responses to your fiqh questions that you submitted over the past couple of days towards our instructors, Sheikh Walid Basuni and Sheikh Yasir Qadi. Beginning with a couple of notes. One, unfortunately, Sheikh Abu Isa will not be able to participate today due to emergency family issues, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make the issues easy for him and for his family, inshallah ta'ala. We'll have updates on that as soon as we have, inshallah. And maybe possibly the Sheikh will be able to join us by the end of the program or the second half of the program. Number two, we have Sheikh Walid Basuni with us. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Walid.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now, Sheikh Walid, for those of us who are unfamiliar with Sheikh Walid, Dr. Sheikh Walid Basuni is the Vice President of Al Maghrib Institute and the head of our Aqeed and Adab department. Students know him well for his sincere care for the well-being and progress in studying. And Sheikh Walid graduated with a Bachelor's in Islamic Sciences from Imam Muhammad University and did his Master's in Islamic Theology, World Religions, and Modern Religious Sects from Imam Muhammad University, and achieved a doctorate in theology from the Graduate Theological Foundation in Indiana. Welcome, Sheikhna.
Ahlan wa sahlan. And I like to welcome all our viewers today, or tonight, depends where you're at. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide me to say what is correct and guide us to hear the speech and to follow the best of it.
Ameen.
So I would like to start with praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He shower Abu Isa and his family and his household with His mercy. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make his affair easy. And I know how interested he was in this particular debate. Actually, one of the people who initiated the idea and work in the early time in making this debate take place. I know also he was very scared about debating us on the floor, and I hope this didn't cause any overwhelming stress caused illness. But I hope
this might have been his way out.
Yeah, and now maybe he can hear me and he's proved me wrong and come strong. But anyway, it's not about debating each other, even though I was preparing to pick on him, but at least I have Sheikh Yasir Qadi. So we will, those who are interested in debate, we should spice it up a little bit with some of the issues. The point is, I don't know what's the answers for the questions that my colleagues will have, but definitely it's a good experience for all of us to see how the student of knowledge, they might have differences of opinions, how they look at things from different perspectives. Because we just a very small version of what the ulama rahimahumullah used to be.
Awesome. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. So that being said, Sheikh, we're very excited. Of course, the month of Ramadan is fast approaching, and we're all incredibly excited about it. It's something that we wait for the entire year, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to allow us to experience the month of Ramadan again a few days away. If you could just begin with a little bit of an introduction to the month of Ramadan, reminding us of its virtues as well as the greatness of the month.
If you allowed me to say something before I start about this issue, Ammar, I just also want to recognize something important which has happened, and today it's all over the media and the social media, which is the death of a great Muslim athletic, Muhammad Ali Clark. Muhammad Ali is really a person that I grew up overseas hearing about him, seeing my father, kind of my older brother, in the middle of the night watching him. This is one of the first ambassador to America to where I lived in that part of the world overseas. And I just want to say something about Muhammad Ali Clive, that's okay, just for a few seconds or a minute, which is the good things about Muhammad Ali Clive, that for us today, that you really present someone who did not hide his identity, when it is not something very popular to show your identity. Today, it's very hard for us to do so. So a lot of people just kind of hide or shy away from saying that they are Muslims. Muhammad Ali Clive, one thing great about him, he never shied out to say that. Also, one thing I want to point out in his life, that he's a person who really had great principle, but not only that, he stood up for his principles. When he knows that this is a war which is not just and fair, I'm not going to be part of it. I'm not going to be part of it. He didn't just go with the norm. When he said that this is wrong, that racial divide, how racially divided the country is, and the racism that we have at that time is wrong, he stood up fast and strong against that. You know, he didn't just go with what the public is. He never inflected by that. I was watching an interview for him when he was in England, and he didn't ever hesitant to stand for a principle that he believed in, which is believe in God. And he asked even the audience, how many of you guys believe in God? And when he asked what you will do when you retire, he said, I want to prepare myself to meet my Lord, to meet my God. Saying that openly, proudly, it is something should inspire our young brothers and sisters to be also proud of their principle and to stood fast. You remember the story when they tried to put his name on a star in the Hollywood street, Ammar. What do you call that?
Yeah, the star, Hollywood Boulevard, or the...
Yes. So when they tried to do that, he said, no, I'm not going to put the Prophet's name on the floor. People to step on it. And he demanded to be up high in the wall. You know, that's somebody who did not just go with the flow. No, he had principle and he stood up for it. He was not shy away from saying it. And I say this because we need this today. We need to understand this as a Muslim community today, to be inspired by stories like this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive his sins, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help and guide and support those who had to fill his shoes, and it's a very big shoes to be filled.
Yeah, what do you think about the notion of how loved he is?
How?
How loved he is.
Absolutely, it is very clear sign that this person has something between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that gave him qabul. One of the reasons also, to be materialistic reason, that Muhammad Ali Clive actually, we consider him. I was doing an interview today, Houston Chronicle, and the reporter told me something interesting. He said, actually, Muhammad Ali Clive considered the first person who really represented the meaning of celebrity. Like the concept of celebrity, he considered one of the earliest people who set that bar, who represent that concept in America. So that's also given him a great deal of fame. Famous and accepted that he's a strong man. By his punches, his muscle, he's a strong man because he's strong physically and spiritually. He's a strong because he stood up for the principles that he believed in. He did not give up for the pressure around him, and that's what really made him loved and respected by most of the people.
For sure, Sheikh. I mean, that's really what made him special and unique. There are a lot of great athletes that have come and gone, but what made him stand above all of the rest isn't what he did inside the ring, but the stances that he took outside of it. Jazakallah khair, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla have mercy on him.
Me and Ammar, we had a debate earlier about this issue, and I think that will settle with Ammar, that's right?
Yes, sir. It was, but that's an off-camera debate.
Okay. As for your question about Ramadan, I'm not going to just repeat the thing that all of you hear about the virtues of Ramadan and how it's very special. But what makes Ramadan very special, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose Ramadan for us. And it is the month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed upon us to fast. كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم. ثم then he said شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن من شهد منكم الشهر فليصم. So he chose the month of Ramadan for us to fast, even though it is basically there's 12 months in the year, but Allah has chosen this month in particular for us to fast, and he for a wisdom that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best, because it's as he created locations, he created times, and from the time he chose certain times to be very special, and Ramadan is one of them. And he chose in it the most special act of worship, which is fasting. Fasting in itself is a great act of worship, as the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, قال عليكم بالصوم فإنه لا عدل له أو لا مثل له في مسلم أحمد and Ibn Hibban. There is nothing similar to fasting. The reward of it, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إنما يوفى الصابرون أجرهم بغير حساب. The reward of sabirun have no limit to it. If you look at the books of tafsir, you will find many said إنما يوفى الصائمون أجرهم بغير حساب. The patient one are the fasting one. So this is make this month very special. And historically speaking, Ramadan has been always a very special month. You know, great things happen in Ramadan. Not only universal changes, but also in humanity. And this is, I think, the most important change that can happen in Ramadan is the change that happened to you during the month of Ramadan. In the month of Ramadan, it's been said that Jesus was risen to the heaven. In the month of Ramadan, Musa died. In the month of Ramadan, Prophet was giving Al-Quran. In Ramadan, Khadija died. In the month of Ramadan, Badr took place. Fath Mecca took place. The digging of Al-Khandaq took place. The destroying of Al-Asnam in Mecca took place. You know, many things happened during the month of Ramadan. And each and one of these incidents, Muslims arrived to the shore of Al-Andalus in Ramadan, arrived to Sudan, since Ammar is from Sudan, you know, arrived to Sudan in Ramadan, in Nova. I think it was 31 Hijri. You know, so I can go on in a long list, you know. Countries even established in Ramadan, like Pakistan. So many things happen in Ramadan that create a lot of changes in the world. Important is what change is going to happen to me besides the change of my sleeping habit or eating habit. It's a change of my character. That's why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به فلا حاجة لله بأن يدع طعامه وشرابه. If you do not stop saying and doing what is evil, what is fisk, what is wrong, there is no point from you leaving your food and drink. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not interested in changing your eating habit. Allah interested in you changing your character, changing your relationship with Allah, and changing your relationship with the people that you deal with. Something will inspire us to look at Ramadan from that lens and to focus it on Ramadan from this perspective. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to fast Ramadan and care for it, and even fast outside Ramadan. You know, Aisha radiallahu anha, she said, كان يصوم حتى نقول لا يفطر. He used to fast a lot, and to the extent we might say he never breaks his fast. He fasted every day. وكان صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم never fasted a whole entire month except the month of Ramadan. Anas radiallahu anhu said, ما كنت أحب أن أرى النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قط صائما إلا وجدته صائما. أحببت في يوم أن أجده مفطرا إلا وجدته مفطرا. ولا من الليل ما رأيته إلا قائما. And Anas ibn Malik, the servant of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, saying to us this beautiful description, and this hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, there is not a single day I thought in my head that I wish to see the Prophet fasting unless I found the Prophet fasting that day. And there is not a day I was hoping that the Prophet will not be fasting unless I found the Prophet not fasting that day. And not a single night that I can think of, or a time in the night that I would love to see the Prophet praying unless I found him praying that night or during that time. And that's as I said, his servant spent 10 years with him, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So I hope that this will inspire us also to change our relationship with fasting. We make the commitment that fasting will become part of our habit if you can offer it. That's what I have. And if there is anything else, I really would like to maybe add is, there's a lot of things I can think of, but if examples of how people appreciate fasting and they know how valuable they are. And I will give an example of a male and a female scholar. The female one is Sayyida Nafisa. She is from the Prophet ﷺ's family. And this woman, subhanAllah, her life story is amazing. And I advise you to look at her story, her life story, Sayyida Nafisa, who died in Egypt, radiallahu anha wa rahimaha. When she was dying, she was in a ship and she was very sick, and they offered her food. Then she said, no. For the last 40 years, I've been seeking this day to end my life while I'm fasting. And she died before Maghrib. She was hoping that Allah seal her deeds with fasting because she knows how important this is. And she not only ended her life while she's fasting, she was actually also reading Quran, and she was reading in Surah Al-An'am, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ لِمَنْ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ قُلْ لِلَّهِ كَتَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. Everything in the heavens and the earth, ask them, or if you ask if everything in the heavens and earth belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, prescribed upon himself that mercy. He prescribed upon himself mercy. Then she died. And the other example is Masruq. Masruq, this is a student of Aisha. She considered him like a son. She used to say, إِنَّكَ وَلَدِي, like my son. He loved her so much that he called his daughter Aisha, and she used to be his favorite daughter, his favorite child. When he was dying, also he was very sick, and he was fasting. His daughter Aisha tended to convince him to take medicine and to drink to make the fever goes down. And he told her, I know why they brought you here, to convince me to break my fast. I never disobeyed you ever. Anything you ask for me, I give to you. Can you imagine that? So when she approached him, and she said, Father, I only want you to break your fast and to drink water. أردت الرفق بك. I want to make it easier. Then he told her, قال والله أنا يا عائشة ما أردت إلا الرفق بنفسي. لكن الرفق بنفسي في يوم مقداره 50,000 سنة وليس اليوم. The only reason I'm fasting today because I want to make it easier on myself, but not today. I want to make it easier on myself in a day which is 50,000 years long. So I hope that these statements, these stories will make us appreciate this great ibadah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will enable us to do during the month of Ramadan. Thank Him a lot for that. Allahumma laka alhamd, for whatever, for all the Ramadans that we were able to fast. And Ya Allah, we thank you for all these days that we have fasted during the previous years of Ramadan. And we ask you sincerely to allow us to make this coming Ramadan the best Ramadan ever, and to protect it from all of us. And let's start.
That was beautiful, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to accept from us this upcoming Ramadan and allow us to experience it, Sheikh. So we're going to jump right into the questions that we had originally prepared for Sheikh Abu Isa. We've decided to, what we've done is we've basically split them between yourself and Sheikh Yasir Qadi. And so let's jump right into it. The first question, and it's befitting that it be the first question, is at what age does fasting become obligatory for boys and girls?
At what age fasting is obligatory upon girls and boys? The fasting prescribed upon the Muslim who reached the age of puberty, and the age of puberty is different from one person to another. There is a sign for the age of, for reaching that level of your life, which is you became Islamically, technically in Sharia as an adult baligh. And this is defined by certain signs and by age according to some scholars. And this age is an issue of debate between the Muslim scholars. But these signs for women, the most clear sign that she reached or she will start her menses. So some ladies, they might start their menses when they are 10 years old, 11 years old, 13 years old. So if she started her menses, that means the fasting is obligatory on her, as well as every single rules in Islam. And one of the signs of reaching the age of puberty for boys is basically the ability to produce many the sperm, and can be noticed during what's known as wet dream stamina, or if it happened in any other way. So the person have that ability. That means the boy reached the age of puberty. There is other signs. Um, some of them are not agreed upon, like the growth of the pubic hair area. It's not something the ulama rahimahumullah agreed upon. There's many scholars that consider it a sign. Many of the Shafi'iyya and the Ahnaf, some of the Malikis will not consider this as a sign, while the Hanabila and some of the Malikiyya consider it as a sign of reaching the age of puberty, as well as the age. The age, the Shafi'is and the Hanbalis, they will consider 15 is the age of reaching the age of puberty, while the Hanafis and the Malikis, they will not consider that age. They will go all the way to 17 and 18 for the boy and 17 for the girl. There is more into this. There is more debate about between the scholars upon this. But the age only if none of the signs appear. By the way, physical signs like the changing of the voice or growing an armpit hair or soft hair even around in the pubic area, this is not a sign of reaching the puberty Islamically. No scholar ever considers a sign of reaching the age of puberty. But the two signs that I mentioned are the most clear one that it should be followed.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. You just mentioned a number of things. So 15 according to the Hanabila and 17 according to, you said, the Shafi'iyya and the Malikiyya.
Yes, the Malikis.
The Hanafis and the Malikis, this is if none of the signs have appeared.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So can you just to make it clear, can you just list the signs?
Okay, so the signs for reaching the age of puberty, if the woman menstruates,
okay,
they said if the woman, the fuqaha said if she gets pregnant, I think that's too late to figure that out. But that's how they put it. They said,
oh, what a shot. We're starting already.
Yeah, some of the fuqaha said that, but I always said it's kind of interesting. Of wet dream, having a wet dream,
yes,
producing the many, in a case, regardless how it happened. So if the person produces many sperm, like for the boy, that will be a sign of reaching the age of puberty. So these are the signs that the ulama agreed upon. There's other signs. There is a debate between the scholars over. Number one is the age. 15 is considered the age or not. So according to the Hanabila and the Shafi'iyya, and many of the fuqaha, Ahl al-Hadith, consider 15 as the age of reaching the age of puberty, because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam rejected the boys who are 14 years old to join the army, and he allowed them at the age of 15. So they said that's considered a sign of reaching the age of puberty. But the Shafi'iyya and others and the other some scholars said no, that's not. That's maybe of taking him as enlisted in the army at that time, because culturally at that time, 15 considered like a young man or a person who can be listed in the army. It's not sign. It doesn't give us indication of reaching the age of puberty. Then you have also the pubic hair area, the growth of it, and they said it has to be thick growth.
Yeah.
Thick, yeah, and thick. So they said this has to be a condition to be considered a sign. And this according to the Hanabila as well. But other ulama said no, there is no so clear evidence. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam maybe treated some people as mature when they have this sign. And it's a particular incident. You cannot generalize rule from it. So they came up with the idea of 18 and 17 for the girls because she matured earlier, and by the end of 17 and beginning of 18, the boy considered. They based this on a statement from Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu wa arda. Anyway, so that's the area of debate, and the first one is the area of agreement.
So, what advice do you have for parents, for example, whose children haven't reached the age of puberty, but they're 10 years old, 9 years old? Do they start them fasting now? Some of them have, they even as young as 6 start to get them fasting half days. What would you advise?
My advice to the parents is to teach your children about fasting as early as 7 years old and even younger. And some of the ulama said it should be treated like the salah. So we order them to fast on the age of 7, and we make more emphasis on it on the age of 10. And they said because that's where the person becomes responsible for the rulings. And from this, some of the ulama said that this is the age. But I will go even start earlier. And in Sahih al-Bukhari and others, in Hadith al-Rabi' bint Mu'awwid, that she said that we used to teach our children to fast. But by the way, this fasting was related to Ashura, so it's one day, it's not like a whole month.
Yes.
In Ashura, because it was obligatory in the beginning, we used to encourage them to fast, and they will bring toys for them to play with it in the back of the masjid until the adhan call. So they will break their fast after that. So from this, you see, these are very young kids. They play still with dolls and toys, and make them busy until the time of the adhan call. But in this case, you have to watch out if your child can take fasting, because in some certain part of the world today, especially in the Western atmosphere, fasting can be very long days during the summer. Make sure that your son is not dehydrated. Make sure that you watch him carefully, so you will not cause any harm to your son or to your daughter. Otherwise, you can teach them to fast half a day, and maybe next day more hours. And that's what I do personally with my children, And now, mashallah, last year, my kids who are like 10 years old were able to fast, I would say 95% of Ramadan, and some can fast the whole entire Ramadan, the age 7 and 8.
And for everyone who's joining in live now, feel free to share and tweet out hashtag Ramadan Debates, share your gems, as well as letting people know about this event that's happening live. Sheikh, that question leads to our next question, which is, under what health conditions is someone allowed to not fast? So not talking about children fasting and not fasting, but we're talking about adults here who are mukallafeen. At what point will their health, if it will pose a danger to his or her health condition, can that person skip the fasting and provide a kafara or an expiation?
That's a very common question. I just have something about the previous one about the children, just to make sure to understand that fasting is not obligatory on kids until they reach the age of 50.
Yes.
So you don't ever treat it like as something wajib, and we make them sometimes we make them feel so bad that they're not fasting, and we make them kind of feel negative or being very negative about it, or some even they might use even means that is something not correct, and it will cause damage. And people hate Islam or hate fasting because how pushy their parents were. So just to keep that in mind, this is not wajib upon them. As for sickness, okay, and ulama rahimahullah debated over this issue, because as we all know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, مَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ فَعِدَّةٌ مِنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرَ. If you're sick or traveling, you have the permissibility to make it up in other days. So here, how we define sickness? How can we define sickness? الأئمة الأربعة, the four madahib, and the vast majority of the Muslim jurists said that the sickness that is considered is recognized in Sharia as a reason for you to break your fast is one of four. Number one, that by fasting that day, that will increase the sickness, so it will have your sickness to be worse, okay? Or delay your healing. So let's say I did a surgery on my shoulder, and if I don't take the medicine, I don't take these painkillers, it will delay the healing of my arm or my injury. Also, if this will cause a great deal of mashaqqa, a great deal of hardship. Like, it is very painful. It's a bone, it's a broken bone. I need or have a slipped disc, and I have very bad pain, and I need my medication, for instance. I'm been treated in the night, and I have very severe pain in the morning because of chemotherapy in the night, or something like, chemotherapy will be a good example, done during the day as well. So I have very severe pain, and I need to take the medication to control that pain, for example, or it's going to cause me to be extremely dehydrated. Some of the medicine I take dehydrate me, and I'll be extremely dehydrated, and it will be a great deal of harm for me and hardship. In this case, we say you're allowed to break your fast. One more thing I want to add to this, Ammar, which is very important. I think some of the people ask about. So what if, and I think one of the questions maybe I saw in relation to this, what if it's not gonna, now I'm fine, but if I didn't take the medicine, maybe it will cause problem in the future. So if I stop, that will cause a problem to me. Okay? Like يخشى حصول المرض. So I'm not sick now, but if I stop, it might affect me. If I did not take my medication and I have blood pressure, or I'm a diabetic, I'm afraid that this will rise my sugar, rise my blood pressure, and that can cause, it's not happening now, it might lead to. The ulama said, if this is the case and you're certain or most likely to happen, يلحق بالمرض, will take the same ruling as if you are sick. And the fuqaha rahimahumullah ta'ala mentioned that and across the board. Ibn Qudama rahimahullah said, والصحيح أن الذي يخشى المرض بالصيام هو كالمريض. The strong opinion that the person who is worried that he might be sick because of fasting will be treated like a sick person. Same thing in Nawawi rahimahullah as well mentioned in his book Al-Majmu'. So that's the vast majority of the Muslim scholars. But you have one trend among the scholars, especially in the early time in the history of the khilaf between the ulama, among the tabi'eens and some of Ahlul Hadith, they said no. And the Zahiriyya, they said no. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا. Anyone, if you are sick, and Allah did not define sickness. So anything considered sickness, it is permissible for you to break your fast. Even if it is as much as severe migraine headache. They said that will be permissible. Tarif walked into Muhammad ibn Sirin's room, and he was eating during Ramadan, the daytime. And Muhammad ibn Sirin, we all know who is Muhammad ibn Sirin. And when he finished, then authority told him, "You're not fasting today?" He said, "Yes, I'm not." He said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "What is your sickness or illness?" قال إصبعي هذه آلمتني. He said, "I have pain, a strong pain in my, or a pain in my finger. It hurts, and it hurts me." Al-Bukhari rahimahullah had a light sickness, and that's how the narration goes. And when in Ramadan, so when Ishaq ibn Rahawayh visited him, and look at the size of this color, okay, he said, "Aftarta ya Aba Abdullah, did you break your fast for that?" He said, "Yes, I did." Then Ishaq, he said, خشيت أن تضعف عن قبول الرخصة. I was worried that you will feel hesitant or weak to take that permission that Allah given us. It's very interesting how, and I can go on. There is like many examples like that. Ibn Jurayj also said that. But I want to say that this opinion, even though it exists among the ulama, but al-fuqaha, and this is al-Qurtubi chose this in his book of tafsir, and if you're interested more, you can look at it in Jami' Ahkam Quran al-Qurtubi. But what I want to say, that al-fuqaha, rahimahullah, like in Nawawi and so many scholars, and even the fuqaha al-Malikiyya later on, they rejected that, and the Hanabila and the Ahnaf. And what is amazing, that later on no one adopted this kind of approach. And they said, no, it has to be a severe sickness. It has to be a strong sickness. And one of the reasons that they said, لأن هذا الحكم معلل بعلة. Because the ruling of breaking fast for sickness, there is a reason behind it. There is a إلا behind it, which is أن الفطر أرفق به. That breaking the fast will make it easy on him. But if he has a little bit of headache and he eats, he's not going to break his fast. You know, it's not gonna make a big difference. You know, there is no a severe mashaqqa. There is no hardship to make it easy. It's a very light hardship, as if it is nothing. You know, otherwise everybody has a headache. Everybody, because of the amount of caffeine that we take every day, more light. So if we open that door, it will become problematic. You know, light cold and stuff like that. It's not considered sinus, allergy, unless you reach to a level which is severe. But why I even bother you guys by mentioning this khilaf, this opinion? Because I want to say, I don't reject these narration completely. I want to say that people have to be answering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before answering anyone else. So if someone, let's say, have an allergy, and really it caused a deal of like hardship for him. Maybe for me it's not a big deal, but for that person it is. You know what? And he broke his fast. I will not say you are fasiq and you're wrong. And I'll say, you know what? Try to make it later on when there is, it's not an allergy season, for example. I want this to make it just a little bit, take it as a mufti or people will deal with each other, not to be very harsh with one another.
The question is then, Sheikh, if someone comes to you and asks, hey, should I break my fast? I have sinus problem, allergy season.
Very good. First of all, we say that this allergy problem, how breaking the fast will affect you, or how fast it will affect you. If we see that this is create a deal of mashaqqa, a deal of very hardship on him. But if it's gonna, if I do that, I'm not gonna be able to go out in the backyard. I will be sneezing a little bit, I will sneeze more. That's not a reason to break your fast. But if your allergy will reach to a level that completely, make you unable to function in your life, severe allergy, we said no, in this case, take the medication. And maybe we can look for other options, and that's where the doctor comes. So the one who define if this is a life-threatening, if this will cause the sickness to increase, if this will cause another sickness to appear. Who make that call are the specialists, the doctors. And the doctors should be consulted. And here I want to mention another issue, maybe you didn't ask about it, but it's important to be mentioned, which is commonly in the books of fiqh, commonly said by the Muslim scholars, you should ask a Muslim doctor, okay? And this has become like always the stand, as we say, a Muslim doctor, Muslim doctor. First of all, you have to ask a Muslim doctor that you trust his deen and his knowledge, so he's specialist. So if you have something that has like allergy and you go ask a physical therapist, you need someone who's specialized in this area. Number two, a person of deen, because even some Muslims, they have no respect for deen. They have no respect for a ruling of Islam or Sharia. And I would say, even non-Muslim you can ask. Even non-Muslim can make that call for you. And this is the strongest opinion among the fuqaha. And this is one narration from Imam Ahmad rahimahullah, واختار الشيخان, It's the narration that's chosen by the two great sheikh in the Hanbali fiqh, which are the Ibn Qudamah Al-Majd Abd al-Salam Abu al-Barakat Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. And also, it is an opinion among the Malikiyya. And among my teachers, Shaykh Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, said the same thing. A non-Muslim doctor can be consulted if you trust him. And this also the choice of Ibn al-Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. And they based this on the fact that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam hired Abdullah ibn Urayqib in al-Hijrah. And the Hadith al-Bukhari said, وَكَانَ هَادِيًا خِرِّيتًا. He used to know his way and very smart person. So if you know someone, and Al-Qayyim rahimahullah in Bada' al-Fawaid, he commented on this story, and he said one of the lessons that you can have or hire, or you can refer to a doctor who's a non-Muslim, and use a hasib, one who calculate, do math for you, or write for you as a non-Muslim. So in any area in these areas, you can seek the help and the advice of a non-Muslim. And if you do that, I'll say make sure that you explain to the doctor what fasting is. Make sure that this doctor who's non-Muslim also value religion, someone who will respect your religion. And this is very common here in America, the doctors or in the Western Hemisphere in general, that there is a code of ethics that they go by, and they will respect that. And even if we look at our history, we'll see many of the scholars used to have doctors who are not Muslims. You know, for instance, Sufyan al-Thawri, the greatest Imam of his time. You know, when he was sick, they took his urine to the doctor to look at it and to kind of analyze it, which is interesting, narration, to see what kind of sickness that he has. And he said, قال إنما هذا بول راهب. This is a urine of someone who is rahib, like an avid worshipper, like our. And he said, this how the urine looked like. قال ما به إلا الخوف. This person had a lot of fear, and it's like a psychological thing. But also Al-Mirwadi rahimahullah narrated that he said I was visiting Ahmad and I saw a doctor who's a Christian leaving Imam Ahmad rahimahulah's room, and with him a priest. So I was kind of surprised. Said, what the doctor and the priest doing with Imam Ahmad? Then Imam Ahmad said, he asked me if the priest can come and visit me. And this is in Sirah al-Nubala and the previous one as well, in the books of biography. So my point is, using a non-Muslim doctor is also a very common thing. You will find it in the history of scholars.
Jazakallah khair. So that leads us very well to our next question, actually. Since we're talking about mashaqqa and we're talking about hardship, and we do have a lot of questions, so if you could give us your response to the question of exams. So here we have, we're not having physical hardship, but we have hardship with regards to our careers or our future. People who have big moments at work during the month of Ramadan that they have to prepare for, or students who have exams, however severe they are, that they have to prepare for during the month of Ramadan. At what point does that type of hardship become an excuse to break the fast, if it ever becomes an excuse?
Okay. I think I saw this on the website. It's about someone said that their boy is 13 years old or something like that.
Yes.
And first of all, 13 can be a boy who reached the age of puberty or not. So I didn't know. But if fasting is obligatory upon that boy, that girl, no doubt that taking an exam is not an excuse for that person to break their fast. There is no, I would assume, different opinions about that.
What if it's the MCAT, Sheikh? The rest of their life is going to be based on this exam.
But what we say, that the person do their, first of all, saying that their whole life depends on this exam and he will do bad because he's fasting, I don't think there is any scientific proof behind that. Okay, that it will really cause the person to lose his future because of it. It's a lot of exaggeration. What I'm worried about, that what the message that we try to send to our children, that they value the dunya over the deen. And I'm very worried about this kind of upbringing, that you know what, for the dunya I can sacrifice. An obligatory like this is one of arkan al-Islam. The fasting is a very valuable thing. We should not even think about it as a small thing or undermine the importance of it. And I'm not also suggesting that this is what the question is about, but I just want us to remember this and to keep that in our mind. So we should tell our children, and my kids and every parents I know, our kids go take exams while they're fasting, and even when they volunteer fast. And these summer days with fasting of 10, 11 hours, but still they manage and they do well. They got A's in their exams. They just graduated.
Congratulations.
Hearing me, I would say congratulations to them. So I know that from first hand. But let's say there is a kid who really, if he's fasting, will be dizzy, will faint, he cannot handle it. So we say, this case, you're allowed to break your fast. I will be completely useless, and I will be very sick, and I will not be able to function. And in this case, what allowed us to tell him break your fast is not the exam, it's the sickness.
I see.
It's like if someone tell me I'm a construction worker, if I don't work, I'll get fired. If I get fired, I'm not going to be able to do it. We said, hey, you go out of your house, and when you work and it became so hot, and you see the signs of being dehydrated, it's going to affect you, break your fast. But we say, no, take your oatmeal and coffee before you head out the road. That's not right. But we say, go and then start, and if you see that sickness will be the reason for you to break your fast.
So it's the fear of dehydration or the feeling of dehydration that allows you to break the fast?
I don't think dehydration is a reason. Dehydration is not a sickness. It's what dehydration can cause, and people are different. I get dehydrated in Ramadan. It doesn't mean I break my fast. But people have different reactions.
Meaning the fainting that comes with it, or that type of collapse.
If that's what the case is, he can break his fast whenever he feels these signs and see these signs. We didn't need to wait until he faints that we give him water.
Awesome. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Very, very precise and well-balanced answer. What about, Sheikh, the person, so we've gone past the person who fears that whether or not they can break the fast or whether they can't. This is someone who knows that they can't break the fast or that they cannot fast, someone whose sickness, someone who's undergoing cancer treatment. This is the question I received. For someone undergoing cancer treatment, I know he cannot fast and he has to feed a meal to a poor person for every missed day, a miskin. Can all of the meals be fed to 29 to 30 people in one day during the first week of Ramadan, or does it have to be done one per day?
This issue, the majority of the fuqaha, rahimahullah ta'ala, said that you can give the whole entire kafara, the 31, to one person. You can give it do it in one day. You can delay it. You can distribute it over multiple days, multiple people. Anas radiallahu anhu, he made a cooked food, and he invited poor people and to eat from it, and he considered that the one. But you have to invite poor people. You cannot do it for in the masjid, because the masjid, not only poor people come to the masjid. Even though the majority of the fuqaha, they have a reservation over this methodology, which is making a food and providing the kafara in a cooked food. Many of the fuqaha didn't like that idea. They said you should give the choice to the poor person. What if he doesn't like it cooked this way? What if he like it more spicy? What if he doesn't like a spicy food? So they said he kind of enforced something to the poor. And the Hanafi have a different position. The Hanafi, the Ahnaf, agree that you can do it in one day or multiple days, But the Ahnaf, they have an opinion in regard to giving the 30 meal, for example, to one person. They said if you do that, this whole entire 30 meals will consider one kafar, and you have to do the rest. And they have their justification for that, because by giving him all this, you take him out of the description of being faqir. But the vast majority of the fuqaha don't agree with them on this at all. And I think the jumhur, the majority of the scholars, have a stronger argument.
Want to welcome.
I'm seeing you, or everybody seeing you?
No, we all see Sheikh Yasser Qadi. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Yasser.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. كيف حالكم?
Alhamdulillah. Welcome to Ramadan Debates. I want to just intro Dr. Yasser Qadi very quickly. He's the Dean of Academic Affairs at Al-Maghrib Institute, and one of the few people who has combined the traditional Eastern Islamic seminary education with the Western academic training of the study of Islam. Some of his credentials: Dr. Yasser Qadi holds a BA from the College of Hadith.
You don't need to do this. Move on.
No, Sheikh, some of our viewers actually may be unfamiliar with you. So really quickly, just completed an MA in Islamic Theology from the College of Da'wah, and then completed a PhD in Religious Studies from Yale University. Welcome, Dr. Yasser Qadi.
Welcome. Jazakallah khair for having me. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So the way that we'll be moving forward, we're still tackling some of Sheikh Abu Isa's questions, and we've already informed everyone that he won't be able to participate, unfortunately, and that we've divided up the questions between both of you. And each instructor will be giving their take on questions, and then we'll follow up, inshallah ta'ala, if the other instructor has a different take, and maybe even get to a little bit of juicy conversation between both of you. Do you have, Sheikh, a different take than what Sheikh Wadi just mentioned with regards to the ability or flexibility rather, in paying the expiations for the month of Ramadan, feeding the needy person, that you can do it in any way, whether it's broken up over the days or whether it's all combined at the beginning?
No, inshallah, that's there's no evidence to suggest that there's a particular method. So what Sheikh Wadi said is the majority position, and it's what we don't want to make Islam more difficult than need be. So sorry, there's no debate on that issue.
Excellent. Okay, great. Moving forward, Sheikh Walid, our next question is it okay to eat your meal before praying, or is this considered delaying the prayer for a non-valid reason? Now here, the question isn't talking about iftar, but it's talking about how people sometimes, instead of just breaking their fast, they'll actually have the full meal before the Maghrib prayer. So here it says, my family eats before they pray, and I don't want to be the only one to leave the table and pray alone. Is that something that you deem okay, or is it an issue?
You mean Maghrib prayer, that's right?
Maghrib prayer.
Okay. So the people in the habit of taking their whole, 7-course meal, I guess, and right before Salah, would that be okay? It is okay as long as they pray Maghrib on time. So as long as the Isha time didn't start, I'm fine with them to pray after they eat if they desire the food. Because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam قال قدموا العشاء على المغرب in Sahih Bukhari. He said, pray, eat your dinner before Maghrib prayer.
Before Isha, no?
No, لفظ قدموا العشاء على العشاء لا أعرف له أصلا في السنة النبوية. I don't know any authentic narration said before Isha. And even if there is, it means that Isha refers to Maghrib and Isha. So it is because Sahaba used to eat their food before Maghrib, not before Isha. So here I would say that, and also the general rule that the person do not pray while he's desiring the food. So if this is really the case, we say you can eat, then you can pray as long as they pray on time. But what I have seen most of the Muslims do in many places in the world, that they start with something light and divide the meal. Even in some culture, they don't eat the whole entire meal until they pray Taraweeh. And maybe it's going to be very hard in our time today because we finish Taraweeh at midnight. So that will be my advice, and I will recommend for people to be very careful with how they fill their stomachs. during the month of Ramadan. It's not a month to gain weight, it's to gain taqwa.
Sheikh Yasser, do you have a different take on that?
No, it's pretty straightforward, alhamdulillah, Sheikh. Only the Shafi'is, as you should be aware, only the Shafi'is have Maghrib Salah to be extra strict in timing. The other three madahib say that Maghrib can be prayed anytime from the beginning to the end. So because of that, there's no problem at all to delay Maghrib to before the time of Isha. Wallahu ta'ala alim.
Sheikh Waleed, our next question for you is, if someone were to provide... I'm sorry.
I don't know what kind of list of questions that you're looking at. But...
No, I'm coming back. So the next question is from a person in Oregon who says, during Ramadan, Maghrib will be around 9 p.m., Isha at 11, and Fajr at 3:30. My son is almost 13 in 7th grade and practices soccer. School won't finish till mid-Ramadan. He fasted all Ramadan last year and is planning to do the same this year. And he also used to pray Taraweeh almost all Ramadan in the masjid, but last year Ramadan was in the summer vacation. Here's the question. Can he pray Taraweeh at home before Isha time